You bet. So there are so many different types, and that's why we have to have so many different drills and tips from our friends because what may work on one horse, doesn't work on another horse, and so I've got to have a lot of tools in the toolbox to try on these horses and see what sparks that one's interest, what makes sense for that horse when I'm trying to teach it either a maneuver or something. And so I think it is important and that's why well, also what I love about the reining is we're always learning. It's weekly, daily. I'm learning something new or learning something that I forgot, which is frustrating. So I try to journal everything down and trying to keep it so I don't lose it.
You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Welcome to The Ride, a podcast brought to you by Horse and Rider Magazine, hosted by Nicole Cherico and Emily Carey.
This episode is brought to you by Farnam, celebrating 80 years of equine care and Endure Gold Killer Fly and Mosquito Control, a new fly spray for horses. Built for hard work, Endure Gold annihilates flies, ticks, and mosquitoes with brand new EPA-approved ingredients never before seen in equine care. Its powerful formulation delivers fast knockdowns and up to 14 days of fly protection, helping keep horses comfortable in the barn, arena, or out on the trail. Add Endure Gold to your fly control arsenal. One spray, no mercy. Hello and welcome back to The Ride. I'm your host, Emily Carey, and today I'm sitting down with NRHA $1 Million rider Nathan Piper. Over the years, Nathan has built a reputation as one of the sport's most accomplished competitors, earning major victories while developing a program centered on hard work, faith, family, and great horses. Of course, Nathan, many fans know you for your memorable win aboard Patriot at the Run for $1 Million. There's so much more to your story than a single run, and I'm excited to dive into it with you today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I think a lot of people, they know your name and they know your accomplishments, but they may not know the full story behind them. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you found your way into the horse industry and what led you to reining?
You bet. So my sister wanted a pony when we were kids. My dad's a mechanic. We knew nothing about horses. I tried to play sports, was horrible at sports, so I started riding her pony. And then we got into 4-H and showed some in the all-around pleasure, horsemanship, trail, western riding. When I was 15, I got a reiner, and he was a piece of work. It cost $5,000, a little different than nowadays, but he taught me a lot, and I fell in love. I loved it. I remember my dad drove me up to watch Mike Flair to win the 93 Futurity, and I was hooked ever since.
I also grew up, doing the 4-H, the all around, and my best horse, my girl, she only cost us $300. Those Chivos that get you going, they're worth their weight in gold, though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So obviously you've had plenty of highlights along the way. What really kind of got you hooked and was that moment where you're like, this is it? Obviously watching, the futurities of such a big moment. What was that like kind of aha clicking moment for you?
Aha for me to be a reining trainer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a trainer as a kid and as I was getting into college, but everybody told me not to, and go get a real job. And I met my wife in college, and she was like, hey, you love it, you need to do it. And so I gave up my non-pro status and started training a little bit in college, and married my wife. We went to Todd Summers and worked a year there. And then the journey began. It was hard. There was lots of ups and downs and struggles. And again, we were ignorant and didn't know anything about the horse business really, or reining. And so it was a long journey. I tell some of the kids that work for me that it was 10 years before I made the futurity finals, and I had a lot of 3-year-olds and was training them and trying to show them, but that didn't mean I made the finals. So it was a long road for the two of us. But my wife, after 26 years, she's still up there in the stands watching me prepare at every show. So it's such a blessing.
That's super sweet. And, like you just touched on it a little bit, like, success doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while to climb to the top. What are some of the moments, looking at that journey that really stood out to you?
Yeah, there were a lot of moments. In the intro, you talk about my faith. I definitely had to have the faith in God, and He kept just pulling me through because, there's times I'd tell my wife that I need to go pick up trash for a living. I need to quit. And just the struggles, which we all have trying to make it in a business and especially in a competitive one. And just how the Lord just kept reassuring me, keep going, encouraging me, and then having my wife right there too to kick me in the pants and make me do what I'm supposed to do.
Well, looking back over the years, you've been in this industry for so long. You've had so many of those ups and downs. You've been on all ends of the industry. Were there any, thinking back, are there any moments that really stuck out to you and were like, man, this is hard, but then this moment came in and really helped shift your perspective and really, you talked a lot about your faith, really helped that shine through?
The good Lord gave me that passion, and I love training horses. I love showing horses, and enjoy it so much that it's wonderful to they say you don't have a job if you love what you do. And Sunday evening, I can't wait for Monday morning to go ride. And so just to have the passion and really it's never burned out, and it sometimes just gets stronger. Just so thankful to do what I love to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm super excited to be talking to you today. We're recording this podcast for all our listeners just about a week before the Run for a Million starts. So super excited to pick your brain, Nathan, about that huge event. It's right on everybody's mind right now. And in 2022, you won the Run for a Million aboard Patriot. Looking back, what stands out to you the most about that experience? Yeah,
so I had shown Patriot his entire career, and he was one of those horses that he loved his job. He always wanted to do well, and he was so talented. And I never felt like, and I had, co-champion Jason at the NRBC and reserve at the Derby and won the World Show. But I just felt like there was more in there that I wasn't getting out as the trainer. And so I just was always a little frustrated at myself because I knew we had some good runs, but I knew there was a little bit more. And so the opportunity for that run to come out on that day was just amazing. I felt like I got him stopped, I got him circled, and got him turned that day. So that was the right day to do it too.
For sure. It all came together. It's exactly what we want, right? You bet. And now talk to me a little bit about the preparation that goes into this. Obviously, Patriot. You knew the stakes, you knew everything about that horse going into it. But what are some other things that people don't see, that go into producing a horse of that caliber to getting to that point?
Yeah, I think knowing him for so many years was a huge part of that. And that week is tough, they got the cameras, the interviews, and so there's a lot to it. And so we had qualified the year before, and that was very helpful because I already knew what was going to take place. And so the second year going, I just was more relaxed, more comfortable, and just could go and show my horse.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on you guys that I think a lot of people don't realize. They see the TV show, they see everything after the fact, but y'all are busy that week with the media, with, the interviews and everything. Like riding's almost seems like the easiest part.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. It is a busy week. That first time I went, I didn't realize how busy it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going into that pen, you're finally like, have a break. You can think and breathe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And now obviously winning a competition like that changes lives. Like that's such an incredible accomplishment. You know, what did that moment kind of do for you?
You know, I think it fuels the passion the drive that you already have, but it also is over just as fast as it happens, and so you just got to go home and go back to work and go to the next one. Um, and so it balances you a little bit, I think, too. It gives you passion to reach for that again, but it also, you realize it is just another day in the same way. I know that's kind of odd, but um, I had, you work for so hard for so long. I think you think those wins are going to be bigger than they actually are, in your, just in your mental being. And so yeah, it gave me drive to work and try to do, I would love to do it again. But it also, you want to go back home and get to work and not forget where you came from.
Yeah, exactly. You build it up so much in your mind that when you get to the moment, it almost feels like you've already been there. You've already lived it and done it because of how much mental preparation goes into it.
You bet.
And last year you had an incredible ride too. And I was fortunate I talked to you not too long ago about your win at the 100X Brazos Slide. Talk to me a little bit about that mare.
Yeah, she was great. She was fifth at the Run for Million last year, and she's won. I got her 4 or 5 year old year, and the same, kind of similar in the fact that the more I've had her, the more we know each other, and I feel like we're getting stronger and stronger together. She's trusting me more. I'm trusting her more, and so yeah, she had her highest score so far last week with the 229. So we're going to take her to the shootout and try again.
Awesome. And for our listeners who haven't been following along on Performance Report by Horse and Rider, we are talking about She's Got Magnitude, an awesome mare that Nathan tied for over at the 100X Brazos. So, super exciting. And we'll get to see her again soon, sounds like. But so looking at, the reining industry as a whole, about what this event has done for the sport, how has it, the Run for a Million impacted the sport of reining and impacted, your career and how it, influences people who aren't as familiar with the sport?
Yeah, Taylor's done an amazing job of promoting, boosting the reining horses. Before the Run for a Million, if I met somebody or talked to somebody and they asked me what I did for a living, I tell them reining, and they go, "What is that?" Or, "Is that like rodeo?" And now you tell them I'm a reining trainer, and they're like, "Oh, like Yellowstone." And so just how well known it is now after the Run for a Million and after all of that is just incredible. It's great for our sport. We're selling out at the shows. The stalls are packed and on a waiting list, and so the popularity has really gotten strong.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was talking with an old friend the other day, and I told her, I was like, I've got a podcast coming up with Nathan. It's going to be so cool. She's like, oh, I know those names from the Run for a Million, from everything that Taylor Sheridan's been doing. So it is super cool how this industry is getting out there to people. And for the record, she shows Morgan horses, so completely different, line over there. But very cool. And now, obviously, we have to talk about the horsepower. They're the stars of the show. Patriot's obviously such a big deal for you. Incredible stud there. What goes into, looking at the horses, looking at what horse will be best suited for this show, and all that goes into picking the horsepower?
Yeah, it is tough because the horsepower is hard to get. You know, it's hard to find that there are so many incredible animals and athletes, but to compete at that level, they have to be very special. They have to have that little bit of extra, and so just not only do they have to have the talent, but they have to have the mind that can handle all the excitement and all of the crowd and all that. And so to find those horses, it does take some time. That she's got magnitude. You know, we've been we've shown quite a bit together. She's won about 140,000. And so I feel comfortable with her. And then I'm taking a 4-year-old named SS Tight Fit and Jeans. She's a young horse, and she's got a lot of talent. I haven't had her very long. And so we're kind of at both ends of the spectrum to see how we can compete and where we can end up.
Absolutely. What are some of those qualities that you do look for in them and those horses?
You know, for me, I want one that is really willing. And you know, they have to have the athleticism, but they have to have that mind, and that mind that you and that horse merge, and that you work together well. You know, it's just like other personalities. Some you work great together with, and some, you know, maybe you struggle. And a lot of times I can get on one and know pretty quick, hey, this one likes me, I like it, we're a good match. And so looking for those personalities that match.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of folks, and they said the same thing. Like, you can have a super talented horse, a super talented rider, but if the personalities don't merge, then nothing is going to come out of that partnership. When you do have, compared to when you do have a great team that they understand each other, can work well together, it makes a complete difference in the quality of ride. But now, stepping away from Vegas, outside of the Run for a Million, what excites you the most right now? Are there any particular horses or goals that you're looking forward to?
You know, I'm pretty excited. I changed my business model, and like I said earlier, the shows are getting so big, and we would take 25 plus to the shows, and it was overwhelming a little bit. And I had assistants and a lot of non-pros, and I changed it at the beginning of the year. Wanted to focus more on open horses. I have 4 non-pros. The Summer O'Pinker worked for me for the last few years. She's in excellent hands. So I said, hey, why don't you start your business here at the ranch? And so she has her own business, but I'm right here if she has any needs or questions. And then I'm taking less to the show. I'm being able to focus on the open horses. I have 3 helpers that warm the horses up for me, and they bring them to me. I ride them. They cool them off. Those horses get to stay out there longer. And then I give them some basic drills that I would like for them to do as they warm up. And then also when we're at the show, the kids that stay home, they're still riding those horses, doing those basic drills, not doing a lot of maneuvers, but side pass and 2-track. And then, you know, I had to adjust because, one, we're gone so much. I was like, how can I keep these horses ridden and do some of the basics at home while I am at the shows? And so it's nice. I have less numbers, or more, around 30 head of horses instead of 45. So easier to manage. And I've seen it already show up in some success, I believe, this year, is because I did downsize a little bit and focus a little harder on the open and not be so overwhelmed, I guess you'd say, or so many irons in the fire.
Yeah. No, and I bet that helps you mentally too, being able to really focus and dedicate a lot of your time and energy into certain horses and projects.
It sure does. I didn't realize how unfocused I was until how this year I've been able to focus so much more.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that, like, you guys have a lot of horses and doing a lot of things. And then you have, journalists like me who are calling you and trying to get you on a podcast to squeeze that in on top of it. You're very busy over there.
It is. It's busy, but it's fun. I love being busy.
Yeah. And I think that really leads into my next question. You've covered, you've been at all the levels. You've won the most you can win. You started as a non-pro, worked your way up, done it all, seen it all. What do you think truly makes, a great horseman?
You know, my favorite thing about training that horse is the bond that you have with the horse. But the training technique that I love so much is teaching that horse to love its job. Patriot loved his job, and it's taking. I can feel little G, she's got Magnitude. It took us a while to get together, but I can feel her love her job, love the maneuvers. And so to me, a horseman that teaches that horse to crave what it's doing, and they're born, a lot of them, I mean, the way they're made, the good Lord makes them, had the ability. But if we can nourish or encourage that want to in them, boy, that is when it just puts a chill down your spine when you can feel them wanting to do their job.
I love watching, from the stands. Like, you can tell when a horse is just happy to be there and just they want to go around the pen. They want to give it their all.
Yeah, that's right. I love seeing that too and feeling it.
I can only imagine what it feels like up at that level, like just a horse that goes for it. How would you describe your philosophy as a trainer?
So mine's a lot on release, like hold and release. So I want to hold and put them in that position, and when they find that position, I release. And my training is a lot on body positioning and putting them in the right positioning. So yeah, it's a lot of drills, and I feel like all those drills are tools that I try to have in my toolbox. I've been fortunate to ride with so many excellent horsemen. I used to drive up and ride with Sean when I was starting out. Nancy Cahill, she's an all-around trainer, would help me. And just so many people. I mean, it's nice living in North Texas. I can call up anybody and say, hey, can I come ride with you? And you learn something every time you go somewhere. And so, it's a great community. To me, the reining community is awesome because everybody's trying to help each other. And that's why the sport has gotten so deep and so competitive, is because we can go get a tip from any of our colleagues anytime.
No, for sure. And, it's cool because the reining industry, like you just mentioned, like it's everywhere. I think a lot of people do think it's mostly focused in the Texas and Oklahoma area, but there's great reining trainers all over the place who are super excited and happy to help people learn and enter the sport. And now, talk about, it sounds like you've ridden a lot of different type of horses. You mentioned, riding all arounds and, obviously the reiners. But how do you kind of balance, doing the drills, everything with so many different types of horses? Like, keeping that consistency through different types.
You bet. So there are so many different types, and that's why we have to have so many different drills and tips from our friends, because what may work on one horse, doesn't work on another horse. And so I've got to have a lot of tools in the toolbox to try on these horses and see what sparks that one's interest, what makes sense for that horse when I'm trying to teach it either a maneuver or something. And so I think it is important and that's why also what I love about the reining is we're always learning. It's weekly, daily. I'm learning something new or learning something that I forgot, which is frustrating. So I try to journal everything down and trying to keep it so I don't lose it. But that's another challenge and an enjoyable part of it is adapting to each individual. I feel like I have a classroom of 30 students, but what's nice is I get to go at their pace. And so some of those horses, I remember one that was so behind mentally and just she was a little hot kind of mare, told the customers don't pay her up in the futurity. And by the end of the year, she was in the level 4 finals. But I had to wait on her. And if I'd have tried to hurry her, I don't think she would have made it. But I waited and waited. And I remember riding her around at the NRBC when she was 3. And I was like, man, there's people's 2-year-olds that are broker than this mare. But she showed up. And that's what's so enjoyable and so fun about training these guys is going at their pace and getting the best out of what they want to give you.
I love everything that you just said about going at their pace, because they are individuals and they learn at different speeds and they come together at different speeds. Are there any like fundamentals that you like really focus on that you spend a lot of time working on with these horses?
Yeah, you bet. The basics are so important. And when we get maneuver happy a little bit in that 2-year-old year, then we'll have to turn around and drop back to the basics and just drill the basics. I've got a lot of basics that came when I was a kid. Dick Pieper was kind of getting out of the reining and into the cutting with play gun. And I spent some time up there, and really that's where my basic came from. And so, yeah, the fundamentals are very important because they're easy to pass up, and then we find ourselves going back when things fall apart.
No, for sure. I can't even think about how many times we've had to go back into the basics, even just learning how to recircle sometimes. Something so silly like that. But I also want to hear more about, the early days. You just told us a little bit, but tell us about some of your early days, you getting the horses and riding.
Yeah, so we got married. My wife and I got married, went and worked a year at Todd's, and we moved back down. I'm from Bryan College Station, went to Texas A&M, and we went back down there and kind of started a business in Madisonville, Texas. And like I was telling you before, boy, it was tough. We didn't know what we were doing. But the good Lord always provided horses. We were always making a living. We had some struggles, but I think that grew us closer together. When we, I think it was 2005, I was able to buy a pickup that I felt like I could drive across this country. And I went to a Sean Flair to Brent Wright clinic, and Sean invited me up anytime, and he might have regretted it because I took him up on it. From 2005 to 2014, I went at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and I'd just go spend 2 or 3 days a week up there, ride with him, and come back. And he was so kind, and I mean, he was a huge impact on me in my career because it reminded me of my basics, of Dick Pieper's kind of basics that I learned there. And so it was real easy to understand him, and the program really worked for me. And so a lot of my tools or a lot of my drills come from Sean. And so I'm very appreciative with that. But we owned a little ranch in Madisonville, Texas for about 4 years and was training up there, and then realized we needed to come to North Texas. I didn't have a covered arena, and so it was a struggle with the weather and stuff. And so we moved to Aubrey in 2009, and we've been up here ever since. I have 2 little girls that are 14 and 12, and they both ride and show. And so the good Lord provided us. We bought a place in Whitesboro here in 21, in 21. And so I never thought I would be able to afford a place up here. But it's been wonderful because the whole family's here at one place. We, they come out and ride. I can work and have the family with me, which is nice because it's hard to balance family and work, and I could get up before daylight and I could go home after dark or I used to before we had kids. And so balancing that is important, but having us all together on the property has made that an easier balance. They are homeschooled, and so they go to the shows. We all go together to shows. If I'm at a horse show, the family's at a horse show, which is also a blessing. And it's a difficulty, I know Others have to do it different because of school and stuff, but I am thankful that we do homeschool and that we're all together, because time goes so fast. They're 14 and 12, and it feels like they were 4 and 2 just the other day. So I know it won't be long, and they'll be grown up and out of the house. So I am thankful for all the time that we get to spend together, and I'm thankful that we get to spend it at shows. I mean, there's just a great group of family and people, and they had their friends, the kids at Francesco Montagnati's little boys. They're always playing and having a good time, and so it is neat how the family atmosphere is so good in the Reining too.
That's super special that you get to spend all that time together, watch them grow up in the pen. What is that like? Getting to watch them show and do their thing in the pen too, and just grow up in that atmosphere.
Oh, the nerves at the Run for a Million are nothing compared to watching your kid go in the pen, especially when they're little. It was nerve-wracking, but they've done good. They've done really good. My littlest one just got out of the 10 and under last year, and the oldest one was Reserve World in the 13 and under, and so it is fun to watch them compete. And the summertime's awesome because they're out here in the mornings before it gets hot, riding their horses, and so it's just a blessing beyond belief for sure.
Are they eyeballing some of your Derby horses?
Oh yeah, they eyeball my horses. I'm like, y'all get back.
You have yours. These are
That's
mine.
right.
That's so special, though. So now, if someone were to walk into your barn, see all this, and they wanted to become a better horseman, where would you tell them to start on their journey?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Sorry, threw that one out of you.
You threw that one at me. Yes. I would say to go to work for someone, but just not to go work for someone. Really do your homework. Really find out, hey, what kind of, let's say you have a basic understanding of a training program. And so go find someone who has a similar type of training program. And, just like the horses, you want the personalities that you can work with. Go find someone that is a good teacher and a good educator and that will spend time with you. And my advice would be, don't expect anything to happen quick. Just put your head down and work hard. Like, if you really, no one knows your name until they know your name, and they don't see the hard work and the long hours and 10 years before it happens. There was times I could have given up, but I didn't want to give up. I loved it. And so, 10 years is a long time to get to the finals. And it was interesting too in my as I was younger and that 10 years, it was kind of slow. And then in 2009, I made the intermediate finals, and then 10, I made the level 4 finals. And then it just, kept on going and built and got stronger and stronger. And so it does take a long time to get in the business, to understand the business, to get to know people in the business. So just be patient and work hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It does take time, and but it all pays out in the end if you're passionate about it, if you truly want to be there. So I'll close with one more final question, and then I'll let you go. Now, we've talked about it. You won the Run for a Million. You accomplished things that many riders can only dream about. When you ride into any new arena, what drives you?
There was a lot of years that it was selfish motivation to, wanting to do good selfishly. And through the ups and the downs and winning the Run for a Million and winning other things, really just wanting to honor and glorify the Lord. I know He is the only reason that I'm where I am today. I've had, different struggles in my life that He has saved me from. And not only did He save me, for eternity to live with Him, but he also saves me every day and saves me from so much. And so, wanting to glorify him and he rules the outcome. And so I can relax now. I used to be so uptight, so nervous about showing. Now I can relax and give him the glory of the outcome, whether it's good or bad. I still want to glorify him in all that I do. And it's not easy, and I don't do it all the time, but that's the goal.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. If people want to get in contact with you or learn more about you, where should they find out more information? Are you guys on social media?
Yep, Nathan Piper Reining Horses is on Facebook. I have a nathanpiper.com. It's not as up to date, but Facebook is probably the best.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I sure enjoyed it.
This episode of The Ride is brought to you by Farnam and Endure Gold Killer Fly and Mosquito Control, a new fly spray for horses. Thank you guys for tuning into the Ride podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and please be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow Horse and Rider Magazine on social media and find us at horseandrider.com to see all the cool things that we're up to. And if you have any comments or questions, please be sure to hit us up at horseandrider@equinenetwork.com. We want to hear from you guys. And if you like what you're listening to, please be sure to leave us a review on iTunes.